Have you ever felt like the world is moving on without you, leaving you behind in solitude? You try to connect, but the bonds seem to break, and the silence grows louder. It's as if Allah is pulling you away from everyone and everything. But why? My dear brothers and sisters, this isolation is not a punishment, it's preparation. Allah isolates the ones He chooses to refine, protect, and guide them to something far greater. When you're surrounded by noise, whether it's constant opinions from others, meaningless distractions, or even unhealthy relationships, it's nearly impossible to hear your own thoughts, let alone connect deeply with Allah. Your moments of isolation could be Allah's way of preparing you for something greater. But let's be real, it's not easy. Sometimes being alone feels heavy, even painful. You might wonder why people who were once close to you are suddenly distant. Let me tell you, not everyone is meant to walk with you on this journey. Some people are seasonal companions, while others are there to teach lessons before stepping away. And that's okay. Remember this. The discomfort of solitude is temporary, but the clarity and strength it brings can last a lifetime. It's in this stillness that you learn to depend on Allah fully, without relying on anyone else. Have you ever felt like no one truly understands what you're going through? Like even when you try to explain your struggles, the responses don't resonate? This feeling isn't random. It's a divine invitation. When Allah isolates you, it's His way of drawing you closer to Him. Think about it. In times of ease, we often rely on people, friends, family, even material comforts. But in solitude, when those crutches are removed, you're left with the one who has been there all along, Allah. Let me ask you this. How many times have you turned to Allah with your whole heart, your tears flowing, only when you felt you had no one else to turn to? Isolation forces this deep reliance. It's as if Allah is saying, "Come to me. Let me be enough for you." But let's clear something up. This isn't about separating yourself from the Ummah. Islam is about unity, and the strength of our community lies in the bond of believers. You may have noticed this pattern. Every time you're about to grow, something or someone is removed from your life. Maybe it was a friendship you thought was unbreakable, or a support system you leaned on for years. And now, suddenly, it's gone. Have you ever paused to ask yourself why? Isolation isn't rejection, it's refinement. Allah removes distractions and attachments that could cloud your path. It's His way of sharpening your focus and teaching you lessons you couldn't learn in comfort. Here's a question to reflect on. What if the challenges you're facing now are your training ground? What if Allah is preparing you for something far greater than what you can see today? And let's be honest, it hurts. Losing people, facing silence, and feeling forgotten can leave you questioning your worth. But remember, diamonds are formed under pressure, and the finest swords are forged in fire. The struggles you face in isolation are the very tools Allah uses to refine you into a better version of yourself. Don't rush to fill the silence. Don't force connections that Allah has chosen to remove. Instead, use this time to look inward and upward. Ask yourself, what is Allah teaching me through this? This shift in perspective turns isolation from a punishment into a gift. When you come out of this phase, you'll realize something profound. The solitude wasn't to break you, it was to build you. Have you ever felt like your life is in a holding pattern? As if the progress you crave is just out of reach? Maybe you're watching others move forward while you seem to be stuck. It's frustrating, isn't it? But let me tell you this. Allah's delay is not His denial. Sometimes He places you in isolation because He's preparing something far greater for you. Patience doesn't mean passivity. It's an active trust in Allah's timing. It's about using this period to build yourself, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. So when the moment comes, you're ready to step into what Allah has planned for you. Remember, Allah knows the perfect time for everything. What feels like a delay to you is part of His divine design. The pause isn't punishment, it's preparation. Isolation is where your intentions are purified. When you're surrounded by people, their opinions, judgments, and expectations can cloud your heart. You might find yourself doing things to seek their approval, even unconsciously. But when Allah pulls you away from the noise, it's an invitation to reflect, to ask yourself, who am I doing this for? Is it for people or for Allah alone? If no one was watching, would you still pray with the same dedication? Would you still give charity? Would you still strive to improve yourself?